Hello everybody, this is Sherry at djsundry.blogspot.com, and today is the second part of the two-part stamp organization series. So I did mention yesterday that the original idea for this part of the video came from someone else. I will put a link to the original video where I saw this part done. It was by Christina over at Creations with Christina, and she's such a talented person, and I've learned so much from watching her videos. This is kind of my take on what she did, but definitely the inspiration goes from her. I need some products to use this. First of all, I pulled out my Chateau Lavender Matte Stack. Now this is one of those projects that's really for me. I don't usually do projects for me. Usually I'm making something for someone else to give away or something like that, but this one's for me, so I decided to make it my taste, my purple taste. So I chose a Chateau Lavender Matte Stack. I had some satin crystals from Prima. I have some Prima flowers, which this is empty, but I've used these and hoarded them for months now. I used this little stamp set, this Alpha Mini stamp set from Megan Elizabeth over at Above Ruby Studio, and just realized I left the page out of that, but I just used that. This little alpha was the perfect size. And then to stamp my alpha, I used this Ranger Archival ink in black to do that. And then I am using Antique White ribbon from 3 Girl Jam. So let's start by making our bow. I think I'm going to make a medium-sized bow, and I'm going to use the 3 Girl Jam bow maker, which is fabulous. If you've never used it, you can see how easy it is to make a pretty bow. You just wrap it around, bring it around, pull it tight, and you have a bow. Wasn't that easy? I'll show you in just a second. Oops. Pulled off the wrong end, but that's okay. And there's my little bow. Now I will probably trim it up a little bit when it's time to use that, but for now there's my bow. Now this is the front of my book. So what I did is I took a piece of chipboard, and this is 5 1/4 inches wide by 6 1/2 inches long. I punched some holes in it. I set some eyelets for my crocodile kit in this side, and this is my front cover. So then before I did the holes, obviously I started my base paperwork. So my base paper, and you can see on the back here, this is Vintage Cream from Paper Tray Ink. And then these are different patterns from the matte stack. This is the inside of the front cover. So I just put them on the inside, and then this is the outside of the front cover. Now this is a narrow strip because the matte stacks are only 4 1/2 inches wide, so I had to kind of improvise to make it fit. But I put a stripe, and then I put a piece of the 3 Girl Jam ribbon. Now this tag is also from the set, and I chose it because it matched, obviously. And then in my black, this is where I put the word stamps. So I'm going to start with this, and I think we're going to just kind of set this kind of at the side here so that it will show up over there. And let's get this taped down. Now I have to tell you, this part of this is the pretty part. This project is a lot of work. If you are new to stamping and you don't have very many stamps, now is the time to start a project like this, because I spent hours literally getting this organized and ready to go. This, like I said, is the very easiest part, and I will show you the rest of it in just a minute. And I am just going to arrange these 3 little flowers just kind of down here, just kind of at the bottom. I don't want to cover up my word stamp, but I do want it to be on there. And I'm just going to use a little bit of Scotch Quick Dry to adhere those down. I may need to add more. I cut the stems off of these little flowers, but getting them down flat is still sometimes a little bit difficult. So sometimes a little extra glue is definitely in order. And you know, the beauty of the Scotch Quick Dry, like so many of the glues, it does dry clear. So if you have a little bit too much glue, your project will probably survive. There we go. And I'm just going to, that kind of mimics the flowers, which I just realized is an even number of flowers up there, which is kind of odd. Okay, that kind of mimics that right there. It just doesn't want to go down, but it will dry and be down. And then we need to place our bow, and I'm thinking I want it to go right about there, and I am going to again glue that down. I could have tied it around, but then I wouldn't have been able to show you the bow maker, which is such a fabulous tool. It helps me make beautiful bows. And it's so much easier. I don't know about you, but I really sometimes struggle with making my bows, and this just makes it so much easier. So there we have our front cover. So now that was really, I know, a very quick and easy project, but now let me show you the rest. I have these big rings that I picked up at an office supply store. I don't know, Office Depot, Office Max, something like that. And I'm going to just get those in. Now I had originally, when I thought about this, and these rings are almost not big enough, quite frankly, but when I had originally decided to do this project, I had run across these little Tim Holtz Ideology binders, and so I picked them up. They weren't as expensive as I expected. As you can see, it's way too thick. So let me show you what I've got going here. These on the inside, this is gonna, I think I've still got, there we go. This is my stamp organization book. So I'll be gentle because I don't want to ruin it, but I've got, in mine, I have 8 sections. And then what I did is I went on my computer, and if I had, I went, actually I did a lot of this on eBay because it was easy to find a lot of the pictures, but I went through, and every stamp set that I had that I could find a picture, whether it was from the manufacturer or from eBay or from somewhere online, I Googled them. Wherever I could find the picture of your stamp insert, for instance, this is Tim Holtz Papillion stamp insert, wherever I could find that, I copied and pasted it. And I took it, I right justified it on a full sheet of paper. And I'll tell you why in a minute. But on a full sheet of paper, I right justified it, and then I made it just as big as I could make it. And I did that for every stamp set that I owned. Now, there were a couple that I couldn't find the pictures from, either where I didn't know the name or something like that. And so there was 1 or 2 that I actually took photographs on and then cropped them and brought them in. There's some more that I need to add that I'm going to end up stamping. So that was the first step. Then the second step was to print them all. But as you notice, this isn't a full sheet of paper. So what I did is I printed it, and in my print options, I just did this in Microsoft Word. In my print options, I did 4 to a page. And so what it did is it then took my full page stamps and it shrunk them down so that they are A2 size. The reason I had right justified them is then I had room for my rings on the side. The other thing that I did is if the stamp name wasn't in the picture, I went ahead and typed it under. That's how I know this is Tim Holtz Papillion. And so these are my sections. Now Christina, when she did them in alphabetical order. My stamps are organized in alphabetical order in their containers, and if you saw yesterday's video, you'll see how I did that. If you didn't see yesterday's video, the link will be below as well. Go down and take a look at that video from yesterday, because it shows how I organize my stamps. But though they are in alphabetical order, but I did them by the way I would look for the stamps. So this first one is Animal, Birds, Natures, and Flowers. So in here I don't have very many. I have, you know, there's nature, there's some birds, flowers, bees, anything like that. And now these obviously are in alphabetical order. The next one I have is backgrounds. And so here I've got my reflections, I've got some clean background. Notice I have this one in here again. That's because this big stamp in that set is a background set. So basically, if it fit more than one category, I printed it more than once. I did not do that for every stamp set. I only did it for the ones that I knew that's how I would look for them. So anyway, so this is my background section. Then something that I use a lot of, and I always have to go back through and find where my stamps are birthday stamps. So I decided that even though I don't have a lot of sets with birthdays, that's what I'm going to flip through very quickly because I make a lot of birthday cards. So I made it its own section. And in that one, I've got sentiment stamps. I've got my Close to My Heart that has birthday sentiments as well as like cupcakes and stuff. Anything that I had with birthday related things, which is only 4 or 5, but I put them in this section, and that will make it easier for me when I'm going to do my look for a stamp. This one is the Digi section. I don't have very many yet, although I have some new ones coming. So, but they're in here, and then I'll know where on my computer. And like on this one, it says this is a Digi from Scraptastical Creations. And then in a note, I put also check for the cut file because there's a cut file on this one as well. If I wanted to paper piece, I could go in and cut it all out. And there's a turkey Digi. And then my 2 largest sections are coming out. This is the first one. This is my image section. Now, sometimes, like this one, Have a Day Filled With is on here. So this one will be in both my image, because it's full of images, but it will also be in my sentiment section, so that when I'm looking for sentiments, I can find it. So then we've got lots of all of my images, all of my main images, and this is one of my largest sections. And again, like you noticed that from before. Then in this section, I have my season and holidays. Now, some of the pictures weren't great, but that's okay because it at least shows me what I have. So these are Christmas mostly. There's some fall ones, and anything seasonal. Valentine's. I really don't have a lot of Easter stamps, but if I get some, they'll go in that section. And then my last section alphabetically is the sentiment section. And of course, this is my largest probably section because I have a lot of sentiment stamps. So this is my organization. Again, if you're interested in how I organize my stamps so that I'll be able to find them, check out on yesterday's video and you'll be able to see exactly how I organize them and have them ready to go. I'm so excited to finally have a system in place where I can actually utilize the stamps that I have. It was a huge project, but it's a little thing that will make my life a whole lot easier. So thanks for stopping by today, and remember to take some time to enjoy the little things. Have a great day.